Okay, starting off as always, we are going to start with this crazy, diary, and then we're going to go into the GPTs and some Amazon tricks, as well as some music there. But anyways, right here, seafood is better than land food in terms of concentration of nutrients. Like if you take your chlorella, spirulina, your wakame kombu, any sort of like nori, and compare that to animal plants. Now they do different things, but as far as antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, it seems like seafood is just better in general. Now the interesting thing is if you look at meat, which I'm totally against, but if you do, fish are considered the healthiest of all the meats, and they were even considered kind of like a pseudo vegetable at one point. Like if you were looking at the pyramid, they were, because of the omega-3s, etc. So plant and whatever the food from the sea seems to be much better than the food from land in general, including herbs and spices, which is really cool. So yeah, downgrading from Pro to Plus, since we covered on the other one, Pro is like crazy to hit 80 requests in 3 hours for ChatGPT. Sea plants, we had a bunch of nori, so we're trying to finish that, and chlorella. And by the way, we had chlorella in the fridge for about a year, well sealed, a year and a half, and it's still good. It still smells good. I ate it. It's great. Everything's great. So, thought it would have gone bad, but I guess we sealed it well, and it didn't. So awesome. Video. We did that. So some of the seaweed storage, the punchline is 5 to 7 days if it's fresh, and it needs a little bit of water. So you want to put in like a paper towel over it, and then you wrap tightly in some sort of bag, like plastic bag, but with the paper towel in it. It's a little damp. Now that's for fresh. Usually, almost all seaweed, as I saw, is all dried, powder or just dried. So what you want to do is, with dried, you want to keep it, this is all airtight, opaque, so no light gets in. You can tape black tape around a jar, or just put something around it, put it in the pantry, etc. Dry. And room temp, around 70 degrees, that's what preserves it the longest. Fridge typically has more humidity, so you lose. The only thing that helps is some of the phytonutrients, like especially the pigments, degrade slower in the fridge, but usually you want it dry stuff in the pantry at room temp, not in the fridge. Okay. Yes, this is just room on the tray so I can eat it. Nuts and seeds, tons of calories and protein, especially hemp seed and flax seed, mainly hemp seed for protein, based on consumption. Yeah, so the ideal, looking at all the seaweeds we looked at the other day, and we can kind of scroll down to all of these guys. You typically want to, this is what I'm doing. Spirulina, you take around 3 to 10 grams, same with chlorella, so that's a teaspoon a day. Maybe with chlorella 2 teaspoons, since if spirulina is a cyanobacteria, and I don't know, it's either, this is what I'm going to do, is 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. These guys are red, and I'm taking, I think, a little bit, so 10 grams, so it's 10 to 30 grams, so that's quite a bit more. Around 5 to 10 grams of nori, interspersed with at least a gram of dulse, just for variety's sake. And these are brown, these have crazy high iodine, so you really can't take much. This is like a 1/8 of a teaspoon of kelp, and I'm alternating with a little bit of a bladderwrack, which I think you can take around 1/8 or a 1/16 of a teaspoon also. the iodine's much less, but still, the recommendation is not to go crazy with these. So, and that's kind of and in the future we wrote, and since we're already here, we're gonna try these two for brown to alternate inside. And that should get a bunch of phytonutrients. So we're working through like sage, hibiscus, and olive leaf at the moment to make room for those, which is fantastic. So eating, yeah. So awesome tip is when eating from any sort of jar, like bowl, etc., that you're storing for long term, either raw or a ferment, and you don't know that you're storing it from raw. But if it's raw or ferment, use a new spoon. You can use the furnace spoon. You can flip it over to the back if it's an herb, so you reuse the spoon. But do not put your mouth on it, and do not put your fingers, especially if you've been handling food, in your mouth on the spoon, and then put the spoon on it. It will preserve it for a long time. We just got out hemp seed that I didn't touch with my mouth, and after a week and a half, still good in ACV. Still good. I know ACV is spoiled if I touch it with my mouth. It's like got 2 days in the fridge, maybe 3, and then it's so that's awesome. And yeah, so one thing for anyone with bowel issues, your like urgency of urination seems to be correlated with you ate something you probably not shouldn't have, but that's causing inflammation and it's messing with your nerves. The great thing is, in the last 3 days, doing all either fermented or cooked 3 meals a day and keto, as well as being on the fast, we have not had to pee the whole night, which is amazing. So after like 10 p.m. till I go to sleep at 11:30, all the way till I wake up, and I sleep a lot because of the condition, but I think it's probably like noon, or somewhere between 11 and noon, we are good. Like there's no, which is amazing. So that seems to be a good formula that's working. We have changed it because we are on the refeed, so the FMD is done. As of yesterday was the 5th day, and we are now refeeding. And we have had hemp, we have had raw herbs and spices. We didn't make it to the tea medley. I mean, we've had all of these, and we had raw. We've had nori. Nori is cooked, but it's got like olive oil and avocado oil on it, and it's a little processed. So, but anyways, we got exciting news for all that. But bottom line, we're eating a lot. We've introduced the flax. First meal, you have to take it slow. First meal, and I can assure you, the second and third meal, you can go way harder than you do the first. It's just the first, even with new foods like flax that I've eaten a lot, but it's new after the 5th day. You want to take it slow, believe me. And if your stomach, and there's another good news here. With all of that, EMDR. So everything we've been talking about EMDR, where you kind of do the left and right, and we have this one right here. This is the specific song. Bilateral Beats Metronome by My Relaxation Online. Yeah, Bilateral Beast Music. It's fantastic. It actually goes left, right if you're wearing headphones. And doing that even till you feel calm. And it usually it's like maybe 3 to 8 minutes, but usually you feel calm. It takes your food reaction like down to very close to 0, like, and it lasts afterwards, which is awesome. So if you're starting to feel a little bit, like, oh, I ate something I haven't eaten in a long time, you're starting to feel something, the 2 things I'd recommend, which definitely worked a lot after meal 1, I just splurged, was you press very hard on your taste and smell like nerves, so you really focus in, also be really focused in kind of the reality, like going into the food. You want to do that as well. but mainly it's the pressing that will go more than 50%, get you 50% there, and if that doesn't, EMDR will definitely take it away. So you can do that during, you can do that after the meal. It's fantastic. So yeah, what I'm doing is now the latest notes are up there. So this would be oldest to newest, which is cool because every time you open this, it opens here, so it's easier to write. This is what we prioritize in a meal, calories and protein, because that gets you, if you're low on autophagy, if you're adequate or high, you get growth. Ferments is to digest all this stuff well and actually have no to low inflammation. And then seaweed, boy, does it do wonders. Most of the seaweed, and I think we covered this in the video before, but most of the seaweed is very good for nerves, and and pain at that. Well, pain and nerves are very closely related. We did that. Combo is now added to this list, and when buying, we'll get back to and restaurant nice to have. So these is what I focus on during a meal, and then the crazy about seaweed. I was having a lot of pain in my fingers, like pain to the point I couldn't type, pain that I was worrying, like, oh my god, am I gonna do X, Y, Z? They have been almost all gone. Like I actually forgot I had pain, which is insane. I've only had a kelp for 3 days and chlorella and nori for today at each meal. And it's not even standard serving size across 3 meals for these, and it's like insane. I can't imagine if you get spirulina in there, things like dulse, the bladderwrack, the others like wakame, why the Japanese live so long and why they are cognitively super strong, with the health span up to I think it's within 1 or 2 years of their lifespan, which is insane that they don't get sick on average, like disease, like clinically, until then, which is probably has a lot to do with it. That and the ferments they eat. So on Amazon, the list we're building out, and we can show you a quick trick here, but the list has, let's do this, is here. So this list, the cool thing is you can go to most recently added is what it defaults to, but these guys I wanted down there because it matches the order on here, which we added 2 things here. First off, we filled in this table with the best brands based on all that ChatGPT stuff and whether they're there, and if there's not, or something's funny about this, like Y to M says dried raw but not really sure if it's cooked, this is not available. This is available, but hijiki you don't want to eat unless you cook the bejesus out of it and soak it. You still get arsenic. You don't, and you just typically not hijiki. So, and then these are the nutrients, and it's kind of cool. This is what we went through the other day, but it's all here. And what is cool about this is what stands out. So you can see a lot of these are iodine, and we already went through it, so we're not gonna do that. But if you want, so this list order, I wanted it to reflect in here, and to do that you can move them around. It will auto save to this custom layout. So if you go here, they're in order. So chlorella is here, and what I did was, funny enough, as I say that, because it's unpurchased, let's see, it should be, okay. Well, it is interesting, but anyways, so chlorella, what we did is we organized it by the best quality first, and then according to the GPTs, and then the best, and the ratings, and then the best quantity, like bulk option. And so these three are chlorella, so it goes 1, 2, 3 in that order, and they're all good. They're all awesome to buy. Here's dulse. Here's the nori. Sheets, and I do I'll work on this a little bit because I think something is not, because the list was different when I had it before. It actually listed everything, and I did purchase them, but I don't know why the order messed up. But anyways, that's how you would do it before purchase. It does work. Unpurchased and then custom, and you'll have them in order, and it will preserve the order, which is fantastic. And then here, if you want this list, because you're like, I don't know if something's going to happen to it, you can print list. Goes to here, you Control A, Control C to copy, and then you go into something like this or a notepad, and then you Control V, and you literally do that for a few times, depending on how big your list is. So you would do it again here, and then again, and then one more time, and then probably another time. I don't know how many times you need to do it depending on your list, but that way you have the list like this, and then you can ask any GPT or yourself. You can Control F and search the list for what you need, but that way you have it somewhere else that's not Amazon and not like the crazy, because here you have to load up the whole list, and it takes a little bit of time of like scrolling down and be like, oh, there's a, so that helps. Okay, cool. So that was all of that. Let's go back to this. This is what I usually eat. So I put in the groceries, and then I look here when I need to buy groceries to make sure I'm future projecting and saying, okay, do we have enough avocado? Oh, we don't? Okay, we gotta buy it. Cool. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about pleasure, like in the gut. Drinking water automatically did that for us, which felt fantastic after the 3 meals. We talked about that, and we talked about that. Okay, cool. So now, out of all of these, we updated this with what shook out as the best ones from here. So we're not going to cover that because we got to summarize. We are going to cover these though. ChatGPT, when you switch to Plus, it'll email you, and then the next billing cycle, which is like in a month, or actually less than a month, you have this one until the next billing cycle, and then it will bill you 20. So I think it's monthly. This guy, we're just gonna roll through these. If there's anything that we haven't talked about, we did talk about this is where I ask it to give me the best one based on all those. Same thing, and I kind of, you'll see I do that for every ChatGPT, and then I take all their answers, like all 9 preferably, and then I see which one won the most. Yep, and then you don't lose any data. So you will lose if you have a project and it's got crazy amount of files. Like I think you have a you will lose that project. You got to consolidate it first, and we'll talk about that in Google Gemini, but that's about the only thing you lose. These guys are actually just nori. There's different nori, ogo nori and susawi nori, but they're nori. So I didn't add them because nori was already in the list. And then here, yeah, this is the file limit. So 40 files per project, while plus caps at 25. So if you have an ongoing project, they typically recommend consolidate, but otherwise it's just, you just kind of lose the pro part, And in my experience, at least lately, the pro part, I don't know. This is more than sufficient, and that's what I'm gonna say. So cool. These do a lot of work. I love ChatGPT, so been with it since the beginning. Okay. Okay, so let's go all the way up and see if there's anything different. I don't think so. This is what we talked about. Like, don't eat a lot of brown stuff because, yeah, the brown seaweed. So the iodine. These are a bunch of wings. I think that's mainly what we did. Yep, that's mainly what we did. I don't think there's anything different in any one of these, so I think we're gonna wrap it up right there. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so hopefully this has helped you a lot. And summarizing any tips, you're awesome.